In addition to devising good health systems, you have to have something to deliver with the system. And among other things, in spite of the progress that's been made on the pricing of HIV medicines and malaria in many places, access to critical medicines remains an enormous challenge. About 30% of the world's population lacks medicines they need to stay alive and healthy. In the poorest parts of Africa and Asia, the figure exceeds 50%. So I want to ask to come to the stage now two people who are trying to do something about this. Muhtar of the Coca-Cola Company and Gabriel Jaramillo, again, of the Global Fund to Fight AIDS, TB, and Malaria. And I want to ask them to sit over there, and I'd rather just ask a couple of questions so they can explain to you what it is they have promised to do back in 2010 and what progress they have made on it. So you can think about, if you work in other countries unaffected by this, whether the same sort of thing can be done there, and whether it has application to other challenges. One of the biggest problems we faced every time I go to work in a developing country is the supply chain of anything. I'll never forget one of the years when we had a famine in the Horn of Africa. And I was in Ethiopia looking at our clinic operation. We were trying to build hundreds of clinics, and at some of the villages that were lit by CGI partners with solar power, I was shocked to see the request for massive amounts of food from the West when Ethiopia was full of a crop, the biggest they had ever had, but there was no storage and no distribution system, no supply chain to get it to eastern Ethiopia, to Djibouti, to Somalia, to the north of Kenya. So we had a famine next to food. Supply chain is a big issue in developmental economics, and these people have done a lot about it. So I just want to give them a chance to explain what they did in common terms. So I'm going to have them sit down so none of us are making speeches. Gabriel, first of all, the partnership began in 2010. What was the problem you were trying to solve? Tell them why you needed Muhtar's help.
Well, the problem was that we were managing to get the health products, the bed nets and the medicines and the diagnostic tests to Tanzania. But we were not able to actually mobilize them within the country. So patients were visiting the clinics and they would not find these drugs. And so the obvious question was, well, if Coca-Cola can go to any corner of the world, why can't our medicines reach there? And this was the problem.
So what did you do? Just put the medicine on Coca-Cola trucks? Here's a dozen Cokes and enough medicine to save lives?
We did not, Mr. President, but what we did do is make some commitments here, as you said, in 2010, that we'd form a partnership. Actually, it started with Bill and Melinda Gates coming to us and realizing that we can go to those last miles. We are by far the most extensive distribution system in the world, visiting 20 million points of sale every week around the world. It's just by far the largest distribution system. And coming to us and saying, can we do something about it? And we said, yes. We studied the issue and formed a partnership with the Global Fund. And we basically provided our distribution and logistical expertise to the government of Tanzania, to the Ministry of Health, to the Medical Supplies Department, and we trained them. We gave them all the ins and outs of how our distribution and logistical system works. And the results far exceed our commitments. And I'm happy to report that availability went up from 50% to 80%. Points of distribution in Tanzania in a year and a half has gone from 500 to 5,000. and the delivery times have gone down from 30 to 5 days. And the Yale School of Public Health, which is also involved in this partnership, has studied this and how this can be replicated, has documented it, and now it will be, by the way, by the end of this year, we'll be covering 75% of Tanzania. I was in May in Tanzania, visited with the President Kibaki, and he was very happy with the results. So it is what I call the golden triangle at work: government, business, and civil society forming a partnership to solve some of the societal problems in our world. And now, as a result of the great work that the Yale School of Public Health has done, we will be replicating this next year also in Mozambique and Ghana as well, and other parts of Africa in the years to come. I'm happy to report, and I'm very excited that Coca-Cola could lend its expertise to help save lives with the Global Fund. And I thank the Global Fund for giving us this opportunity, and I thank Bill and Melinda Gates in your presence for giving us that opportunity. And I thank you that you let us make that commitment here.
So what are the practical implications for people of what Muhtar just said?
Well, it used to be that 1 out of 2 people that visited a clinic couldn't get their medicine. Today, 8 out of 10 get it. And, you know, you talk about time to market, but this is about time to save a life. And that improved by 6 times. It used to take 30 days to get these medicines out to the first warehouses. It's down to 5 days now.
In other words, you designed a supply chain.
Rather than put it on our trucks, yes. Capacity building is a lasting thing, and that's what I'm very pleased to report that we're doing, and that's important.
You know, all over the world, designing systems that people can afford to run, that's what we just celebrated in the Rwandan health system, is a huge challenge, but designing supply chains is a big part of that. There are, whether it's agriculture or healthcare or education, people that understand even where there's money, you can't necessarily make a change unless there's a way of getting whatever it is you're trying to get to where the people live.
Delivery systems are critical in the world in every respect. And again, we announced today here at the Clinton Global Initiative a new partnership with DECA, Dean Kamen's organization, to place all around the world new machines that have been invented by DECA, Dean Kamen's organization, that can make 1,000 liters of fresh drinking water from any water. No matter how contaminated that water is, we will be making 1,000 liters with each machine and placing thousands of these, which in 2 years' time will add 1 billion liters every year of additional drinking water that wasn't there in the world, again using our delivery systems and using our extensive supply chain. That's the importance of how you can build lasting communities by lending your expertise in supply chain.
Where's Dean? Dean, where are you? Stand up. Now, I want to tell you, Mr. President, you may be able to use these in Egypt or in Rwanda. Dean Kamen is most famous in America for inventing the Segway. And a lot of people ride around New York in them. I personally don't trust my balance to do it. But 7 years ago, I did drink some of the ugliest, most contaminated water you ever saw. Dean came and put it in his little machine. It went through the filtration. I got my glass of water. I drank it down, and I'm still here. It works. It works. I
drink it all the time, and it works, and it makes it is just an amazing piece of equipment.
You want the last word?
Just the honor of seeing civil society, private sector, and public sector work together is just a source of innovation which is unequaled. And having Coca-Cola as a partner in this project has been fantastic. Thank you very much.
That's good. I was meeting with, you talked about the Gates Foundation and the support they'd given. I had an interesting meeting with Bill Gates the other day, and he said, you know, the stuff that you do, our foundation with the Gates Foundation, he said, you probably shouldn't do it. But on the other hand, that's what we need NGOs and companies for. They have skills, acquired skills, that make these kind of partnerships work. You guys have done a great thing here. And tonight, you should go to bed thinking about all the people that will be alive this year because of what you did. Let's give them a big hand.
Thank you.